Hey guys, I'm Billy from McKinnon's Cruisers. We're a small family-owned business down in Tamborine, Queensland. We specialise in early Land Cruisers, 40s, 60s. We're starting to get into a little bit of 75 series. Mainly doing coil conversions, 80 series chassis, LS swaps. We'll put any motor into anything. This sort of started off about 12 or 13 years ago. I built my first coil ute. It was a 47 series on an 80 chassis with a turbo 1HZ. That progressed to a flat track sort of fast event style LS swap 40. Eventually it got parted out and the running gear from that went into my troop carrier. From then on, that sort of kick-started my business, basically coil swapping 40 series cruisers. From then we started manufacturing kits, body mounts, engine mounts, any sort of conversion part you need to do the swap. And then that progressed into manufacturing replacement parts for 40 series chassis and dabbling in a few different models, particularly 60 series. The one behind me we built about 3 or 4 months ago. It's a great setup. It's good for touring, family stuff. I've sort of built it with all the good intentions of what my troopy was, except comfort, quietness, and a few more doors, a bit more space, and aircon. With the 60-80 swap, I had a gunmetal grey turbo cab I bought from Victoria a few years ago. Basically had a 1VD 5-speed conversion out of a 79 series I was going to use. And a fella I know seen a Snapchat story I had up and basically wanted that setup. So I pretty well set it up for him and sold it as a mocked up vehicle and got the design from that. So we weren't really pushing the 60-80 sort of setup back then, but once we did the design and really stood back and looked at the car, it pushed me to want to build this thing behind me. I found this cab down the Gold Coast. A fella, he got it from his granddad. He had it pretty well since brand new, 640,000 Ks it had on it. 2H diesel, 5-speed. It had snapped the keyway, so I bought it off him basically because the cab was straight and I didn't have to do anything to it. Brought it home. We pretty well just finished the gunmetal one, so we had all our designs right. Brought a chassis up, shortened the wheelbase 125mm, remounted the cab, basically set it up so it would clear 35s comfortably. I had a VF L77 and a 6L80 conversion sitting from a previous build. Basically just prettied that up, bashed it in, all fitted nice. It's a great combo. We basically set this cabin up on the chassis as low as we could with minimal trimming of the body. If you look side on to the car, it doesn't sit how a normal 60 series would. We've based the axles out so that it will clear 35s comfortably. You could run 37s on it, but you may need to trim the inner guards. But for what we were building it for, 35-inch tyres will get us everywhere we need. Got other vehicles to go silly places. When I first started building it, I wanted to just get in it, and which we did. We finished the car and I took it to Victoria like 3 days after we registered and did pretty well, 3,500 K round trip. Brought it home, serviced it. 2 weeks later, we jumped back in it and went down the border track in South Australia. The way we set it up, yeah, it's pretty much just so we don't have to touch it. All our bar work and stuff we've designed on it. So we designed a front bar about 1.5 years ago for just the 60 series and never really progressed with that design until this car was done. So then we designed the bar around the 80 chassis to suit the 60. In behind the bar, I've got a Red Winch Explorer low mount, so air free spool, air brake, all that sort of tricky stuff. EFS Vivid Max spotties on the front and JTX lighting sorted me out with the headlights. Yeah, they're psycho, really bright. sliders. We did a rear bar, like a Stinger style rear bar, single swing, and it's got like an integrated HITF in it. We got a 150 litre fuel tank out the back. On all of my long trips I've done, I've averaged around 15 litres to the 100. So people with LS converted cruisers, I'm sure you'll understand that they aren't the worst thing on fuel. You put it in 6th gear and let it cruise at 100. It's, yeah, it's quite surprising how good it is. Pretty well, the drivetrain in it is a VF Commodore 6 litre L77, low K, 6L80 auto with a Tiptronic shifter and 80 series transfer case. We put a Marks top mount alternator kit, an aircon setup on it, advanced extractors and a 3-inch system. We run like a custom 4-inch intake setup that we've made. Aaron Sapola from Sandland Fab built all that. The snorkel's from Whistle and Soot. So it's a 4-inch snorkel that he makes for the 60 series. The diffs are built, so it's pretty much just 80 series front and rear, ARB lockers front and rear, the front end, chromo CVs, axles, hub gears, superior remote resis, panards, steering, uppers and lowers, all the stuff that you don't really want to break out in the bush and get stranded. Wheels and tyres, they're Method 305 NVs and Toyo Open Country MTRs. 35-inch. When I bought the vehicle, it had the flat rack already on it, so I've just left that on there. We mounted a Rhino batwing awning to the side of it, 270. In the back, it's just got a set of drawers, and I run a 60 litre angle. Obviously dual batteries, BC-DC, sat phone, UHF. I put a really good stereo in it because I like listening to a fair bit of screamo. It's always good on a long drive. Future mods, obviously the supercharger's got to go on it. Harrop 2650 kit, that's definitely happening. Like with that, it'll upgrade the fuel system. I'll probably put another fuel tank in front of the axle. We've already had a look at that. We'll probably fit another 110 litres. So that'll give us a decent range. Yeah, look, the car's, at the moment, the car's good, but I can never help myself with something like this. I always want to just keep progressing it until it gets to the point where it's pretty well useless. Well, it's true. Look at them all. They're built conservatively to do a purpose, and then I just can't help myself and I go bigger and badder and turn it into a demon. But yeah, like there's not much I'd really change this car. Like eventually I'd probably get a respray on it. I'd keep the horse stickers, the Darrell Braithwaite edition. She's fancy.